What you're about to hear is part one of a powerful two-part conversation with some of the most driven and high-performing real estate agents in the game. These aren't just theories or surface-level ideas. This is real experience, real challenges, and real results from people who have put in the work and figured out what actually moves the needle. In this first part, we dive into the mindset shifts, the struggles behind the scenes, and the exact moments where things started to click. If you're looking for fluff, this isn't it. If you're looking for something you can actually apply, pay close attention.
We've all gone to meetings where it's a lot of rah-rah and fluff and you can do it, and it doesn't really help me at all. Even people who bust down doors are afraid to call people.
You know, these people actually need assistance, and I'm here to provide help.
How much money did you make last year?
$275.
I figured it would be helpful, useful, to speak to some of these individuals that are testimonies to the environment and the community, right? Remember how I shared with you at the beginning, I was like, look, I want this event to be something that is tactical and practical, that you can walk away with, hey, I've actually used this information and it's equated to money. And everybody who's sitting on this panel has accomplished that we're doing something completely different, definitely not producing the outcomes that they're producing today. It's a testimony to the community. So we can start with Heath, Mike's right there. So you started actually professionally, you were in law enforcement.
Yes.
And we met each other actually at baseball. Our sons played baseball together, yeah?
Yeah, when they were, I believe, 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah,
They were playing baseball together.
And then you know, like many people who are in those positions, at some point, you were like, hey, I may want to do something else because I'm approaching the 20 years. And a buddy of yours, you were like, hey, I think I want to get into real estate. I think his name's Kevin. And he was like, yeah, you need to go talk to Aaron.
Yep.
And then you reached out, right?
Exactly.
And we started to kind of take the skills that you had in law enforcement and apply it to real estate, and specifically the area of probate. Were you good at it?
Not at all.
No.
I was definitely hesitant. So it was quite the journey.
You were hesitant.
Yeah.
And isn't it interesting that this big, strapping, handsome guy who busts down doors was hesitant to call people? Show of hands if you ever have call reluctance, calling somebody. Even people who bust down doors are afraid to call people. What were like some of the key kind of mental changes that you had to make to get comfortable doing what's necessary in order to produce the outcomes?
So in the beginning, I was definitely hesitant, and I had to get over the fact that these people don't want to hear from me, or I'm annoying them, or I'm coming from a place of greed, like I'm calling because I need to be paid. That's the wrong approach. It was a switch one day that I took, and I said, look, these people actually need assistance. Especially that's where my business is now. It's just probate. I've focused my business solely on probate leads.
Well, and it was interesting because we really had to tap into that.
Yeah.
Because I remember being on a call with you and I'm like, hey, people usually don't go into jobs where they have to bust down doors if they're not interested in helping people.
Right. Right.
So I'm like, look, at your core, you like helping people, yes?
100%.
He's like, yeah, dude, that's his like core identity. And I'm like, well, this is the same thing.
And that's what came out. It came out that, these people do need assistance, right? I understand they're going through something very traumatic. There's a loss in their family, and I'm here to provide help. And if they don't need my help, that's fine. I'll go on to the next one that does, right? So it was okay to come across people that were angry or upset because I understand that they are going through an emotional time, but I'm here to provide assistance.
I think some people imagine, you see people that produce favorable outcomes and you think it like they were blessed with like magical success dust. Poof. Oh my gosh, they just did it easily. It took you like probably 6 months to like really get comfortable with calling, dial in the yes?
Yeah, just like everyone else, I do role play for a while in the morning groups. I'd try to jump on, do probate. He'd call me, we'd do probate, but then I'd go back to the role play group and I'm like, I want to do expired today. I could do expired. Let's go through an expired script because it felt comfortable, right? I was super uncomfortable with the probate scripts and just having that conversation. So that was a hurdle in itself, understanding what to say and how to say it.
Even though he busts down doors, he's such a nice guy, bro. Like he's such a good boy, like a nice man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he was doing, he was doing the nice guy thing on appointments. So he literally, watch this. He calls me up one day. What's going on, man? I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, oh, dude, I went on this appointment. I'm definitely gonna get this listing. I'm like, well, tell me about it. He's like, well, I went and I met them. They're from out of town and I gave them a gift card to Chili's. They're definitely going to list with me. I said, Heath, are you sitting down? He was like, no. I'm like, they're listing with somebody else. I promise. He's like, no, you weren't there. We had such good rapport, Aaron. They're listing with somebody else. And sure enough, They listed with somebody else. And it was at that moment, I think, you were like, oh, I need to learn how to sell, and not just sell with personality. I need to learn the skill of selling.
Right. You need to learn like what their challenges are and how to help them overcome those. And that's what sells you as being the agent that's going to be able to guide them through the process.
And close.
Yeah.
Because, okay, how many amiable personalities do we have in the room? Like amiable, like, okay, yeah. You guys have a really hard time asking for things. Yeah. Most of us do, by the way, even personality profiles. We just have a hard time asking for things because it's a deserving thing. But you know what's really interesting? You know what we call people who ask for what they want? Rich. So you got to get comfortable for asking what you want. That first year took you a little bit to get it dialed in, but then you started to do last year, or in 2024, you did 20 deals as a part-time agent.
Right.
Full-time cop. Then you called me up and said, hey, should I make the decision to retire early? If you stay longer, you'll get more of a pension. And I was like, how much more of it? He's like, I don't know, it's like $1,000 a month. I said, bro, you can make way more money than $1,000 a month. You keep hanging out with us. Yeah. And you decided to do that. You made that decision.
Yeah, it was a leap of faith, you know, and it was one of those where you can only guide someone so much. Like you were like, do it, you know, you're good. I have faith in you, but you have to have faith in yourself. And so it helped that he was kind of there. He had my back. He's like, yeah, you're going to be okay. Right. You're not going to just stop, get off law enforcement and then just be broke and live under a bridge. Right. It's not going to happen. So, but again, that was my place of security. You know, everybody wants that steady paycheck coming in and, you know, all the other benefits that come along with it. But I had the confidence because of, you know, his training and my experience that I could make that shift and things were going to work out. Did it when my 20 years hit and left. I could have stayed an extra 5 years. All these people on the force were like, oh, how are you doing this? You're so nuts. You're going to leave, you know, so much money on the table because they have a drop plan where you get like 300,000 to 500,000 at the end of the 5 year time.
Wait. At the end of
five more years.
How much money did you make last year?
275. Yeah. And just to add context, I'm already started off 2026 this month. 4 closings at 70K, 3 million in volume. Yeah. So
that's amazing, bro. So
yeah.
I appreciate your trust. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you for
Keep it
everything.
up. Keep it up.
This is a place to be, guys. You're in the right spot.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Rob? So Rob, me and you met actually digitally, yes, first online?
Yeah, years ago. You didn't know I met you, but years and years ago when you barely had anything, like you had to really search for an Aaron Novello video.
Yeah.
There was nothing on Instagram. So
nothing.
Yeah.
Wow. And I guess I'm curious, like what drew you to the content?
You know, there's lots of scripts and there's lots of ways that people say things, coaches out there. And the way that Aaron, the stuff that I could find online for Aaron at that time was just like aligned with exactly how I know we can't always feel comfortable with the scripts and everything, but the way that Aaron presented things, I was like, that sounds like how I want to sound in a sense. Like I can identify with that.
After years, what caused you to actually like want to get closer proximity? Like, why did you even do that?
Because you finally started putting out more content.
Oh, my bad. I was screwing up. That's what I was doing wrong. Fair enough.
So I was like, oh wow, I can finally get closer proximity to Aaron. Something I've always wanted to do. So
you got proximity, you got involved in the community, and then you started to learn different strategies, different techniques, and one specifically, which you hear me talk about a lot, you heard Heath talk about, was probate. And prior to that, you weren't doing any of that, correct?
Well, I had the idea of probate in my head, but I didn't know, and I actually did start, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was fumbling my way through it, and it wasn't really producing anything.
And this is critically important, yes? Because you know how many people tell me, they're like, oh, I'm just going to like figure it out on YouTube. And it made sense to you. You were trying to make the calls, but it just wasn't converting. It wasn't working.
Yeah, it's a different conversation. And it is a different skill set. I didn't understand what was going on really.
Yeah. So. And at the time you're just like, okay, like move on, right? You didn't know what to say or how to say it. So do you remember that theme, Jose and Abel and everybody's talking about? Dude, the issue isn't the leads. You can turn on probate leads like this. You just pay somebody and they come. You can turn on cash offer leads like this and they'll come. What's the issue? Conversion. It's knowing what to say and how to say it. And here's the thing. Jack, if he's here, we were talking this morning. Jack was like, yeah, all these other things you're talking about, I can buy that stuff. I can buy the leads. I can buy the systems and stuff. You know what I can't buy? Skills. You can't buy them. You got to earn them. I'd love to be able to outsource push-ups to the Philippines and I get diesel. That'd be dope. Yes? Can't do it. Right? You got to put in the time. So you started to put in the time. right?
Yep.
You got access to like, okay, what do I say? How do I say it? You're jumping on calls, you're asking questions, which I always find interesting. People are on calls with me and they don't ask questions. Like, that's the whole point. You're asking a lot of questions. And then you started to see some success with probates, yeah?
Yeah. It took me about 6 months as well.
Wait, time out. Did you notice a pattern? Anybody besides me expect to do something once and expect to be like a master at it immediately? And if it doesn't make immediate money, I'm like, this is dumb. I'm not going to do this anymore. Yes? Anything worth doing well is worth doing poorly before you can learn to do it well, bro. Right? If it's not worth doing for a decade, it's not worth doing for a day. So he stuck with it. You know how many agents I meet, they're like, oh yeah, I tried probates for a month and you know what? Like nobody picked up, so I'm just going to move on to the next shiny object. No. You didn't do that though.
No.
Why didn't you do that? Why did you stick with it?
Well, because I understand how working leads over the phone works and getting those leads, because I've been cold calling for years, like for probably 7 years now. And I've never called expires or FISBOs. It was always circle prospecting. So like I would sit on the phone for hours and hours, 8 or 9 hours. I would call so late at night till finally somebody got mad at me and said, why are you calling me? And then I'd be like, okay, I'm done for the night. So I understand like...
So you knew it took time to convert. So you're like, hey, I got to stick with this.
Yeah.
And then you stuck with it. And when did it start to click? Like at that 6-month mark, what happened that caused you to be like, oh, this is what I need to do?
A lot of the probates that I've worked with, a lot of them were from follow-up, not from setting appointments on the first call. So that's when some of them started to mature and get ready. A lot of these people, they have so much going on and they're so overwhelmed. And I think a lot of it's in their head. They're just like, I'm so overwhelmed, when really we could help them like get the house out of the way, but they just don't want to accept that. And so it just takes time. You have to let them, at some point, you have to let them just do what they do.
Now, what does that like portion of your business look like? Like how many listings do you take a year just from probate?
So last year, I average about one a month now.
And your average commission in your marketplace?
It's about 15,000.
Yeah. So in other words, he's making an extra $170,000 a year because he learned a new lead source. And he stuck with it long enough. Do you understand? And he got into a community of like-minded individuals so he could learn the skills that are required in order to convert.
Anybody that's scared of calling probates, like I was there too, I would sit down every Wednesday after Aaron's call. I go right into calling the probates. But as soon as I changed my mindset and I helped a couple of people that were super grateful, now I sit down and it's like, okay, who am I going to help today? Right. And all the people that get mad, and ambulance chaser, it doesn't even faze me because I just go on to the next person that I'm going to help. So, yeah.
Love that. Amen. So congratulations, bro. I'm so glad that you did that and that you stuck with it. Way to go.
When you have 21 apartments, you realize that it's a job. I realized that I had a problem. I could continue to do it by myself, or I can join a team.
I would rather own 1% of something that's enormous and great than 100% of something that's crap.
You're going and collecting rent checks, you're going and fixing this, you're going and fixing that. They knew my phone number, and people were calling me on my overnights, and it was not the ideal scene. And so I actually found Grant on YouTube. It was, hey, I'm buying an airplane. He didn't buy it yet. It was like 3 weeks out. But I also have 4,000 apartments. I actually found him on Bigger Pockets too. He's like, anybody who wants to join my team, call my office. And so what did I do? I called his office. So I went from owning 21 doors, 100%, to owning like 3%.